everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sunspring or Chelsea, whichever you prefer. Welcome back. Man, House of the Dragon is bringing it. Like, this season is fantastic. And Matt Smith, oh man, people are going to be talking about this performance for a long time if he keeps it up at this level, at this intensity. I'm trying to be spoiler free here for just a minute or two. But if you're not watching this, you need to be watching this. And episode 3 just clinches it. 1 and 2 are great, setting up the intrigue and the politics, the friendships that are going to get ruined, and the internal family dynamics of the Targaryens at this point in time, and the various conflicts in the realm. Well, really outside of the realm. There's not been a lot of Seven Kingdoms stuff, just other things, which is a weakness of the show right now. But I think we'll be getting into everybody else later anyway. This is just setting up characters, setting up events, and they're doing a fantastic job. But Matt Smith is the next level. Totally blows me out of the water, and it just goes to show what a good actor can do despite everyone's typecasting, everyone thinking, oh, I don't know if he'd be good in that. I was saying, I don't know about Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen. We're believers. I'm a believer today. Wow. Basically, this show is starting to ramp up. We understand not just who's going to be fighting, but what their internal lives are like. That's what gosh, I just love so many things about Game of Thrones. Despite the ending, we all know the ending was rushed and botched and all that. Rushed primarily. Rushed more than botched, in my opinion. I don't think any of that was beyond the setup. It was just not, it was too fast. But anyway, I won't get into that. That's an argument for another time. But what they do so well with these characters and these stories, they give you a sense of who someone is fundamentally before they show you what they're capable of. And it's never in like episode 1. There's always like you think you know who they are, and then the layers, they just keep peeling back the layers of all these characters until you get one of them or more, one or more, to a breaking point. And then you see what they're really made of, because as always, that's how it is, right? When the chips are down, when shit hits the fan, we start to find out who these people really are and what they truly believe, what they're willing to do, and what they're maybe not willing to do. So well done. I think that's all the non-spoilery stuff I can say. So I'm just going to get into spoilers. So spoiler territory now. Spoilers for episodes 1 through 3 of House of the Dragon. Wow. Many a person is talking about this today. Matt Smith, without saying a freaking word, owned the last 15 minutes of this episode, maybe 20 minutes, by himself. Not a word, just gorgeous acting. You can read it on his face. You know exactly what he's thinking. You wonder for a minute how he could react like that. But as you listen to the words of the king and you think about what you know about Daemon up until this point, that he is a second son, that he has a massive chip on his shoulder, that he wanted to be heir to the throne, that he was ultimately denied that because of his own stupidity in his mouth. The fact that he has a grudge against his brother, the king, the fact that he started a war. He stole the dragon egg that belonged to the dead son. He's a deliberate provocateur of his brother. He doesn't want to love his brother. He doesn't want to. There is a piece of him that does, but he'll be damned. And even the king said, oh no, he didn't ask for help. Daemon would rather die than ask for help, but I'm not going to allow that to happen. And it's benevolent and it's a sweet thing on the part of the king. It was truly, truly from a place of goodness. What's good for the realm, right? At least. And Daemon to receive this kind message from his older brother and to be like, you know what? Fuck that. And you could just see it in his face the moment he's like, no. I think it's this moment right here, right? That's on the screen. Oh no, we're not waiting for Big Brother to come save us. You got another damn thing coming. I would rather die than let him do that. Than let him take control, take this victory from me, and make it about him. I will not allow it. And it's just so, you can feel the pride and the arrogance and the real animosity that he has toward his brother, which is now, it's not hate. Hate is simple. That's another thing that these showrunners, these writers, the people, and George R. R. Martin, the person who created these characters, understands hate is too simple. Never just show that someone hates somebody. That's boring. Show every facet of that feeling. It's never just hate, right? That's too simple. Hate is a symptom. It's the envy, it's the jealousy, it's the ambition, it's the covetousness. It is the refusal to ask for or accept help. It is sad and utterly captivating to watch this this portrayal of Daemon as he ass kicks. Oh my god. Now granted, the tactics are dumb to an extent. Like, I'll get into that here in a minute, but all that aside, it's so captivating that you forget the parts that are the logic doesn't really add up. He sells it, and that's the difference, right? You have to bring it with fantasy sometimes, because otherwise it just people don't believe it. Oh man, when he dragged that dude's like chopped up corpse, dragging his entrails all over the place, I was like, yep, that's, do not piss this guy off. He's I think he's George R. R. Martin's favorite Targaryen. Daemon is. And this is actually a much, I guess I can't say more interesting because I didn't read The Rogue Prince. So I don't know if Daemon was like this in that story, but in The Princess and the Queen, Daemon was kind of like, woo, he's the badass right now. But there's always a badass Targaryen. Like every era, the Duncan Egg era had a badass. Every era has like, oh, I'm the badass Targaryen. So it doesn't stand out that much to me. Or it didn't when I read it. But they seem to make a big deal out of Daemon. Like, no, he's pretty, you don't want to get on his bad side. He's unpredictable. He's downright scary at times, but he is so cool. You could just feel that they want you to believe he's dripping with cool. And I don't think I believed it in the story in Princess and the Queen half as much as I believe it here. I'm like, oh, that's why I got it. Oh, okay. I totally understand now. this is a whole other level of psycho badassery. It's not just your standard for the Targaryens, right? I mean, come on, they all have dragons for Pete's sake. What's more badass than a dude riding a dragon? Oh, the answer is Daemon, right? Uh, just what a wild card. Whew. Yeah, I'd hate to have him against me in any conflict. Oh, I'd hate that. Anyway, the stuff with Rhaenyra and Allison is great. I loved that moment at the Godswood when Rhaenyra is trying to listen to the bard sing, and she keeps telling him to sing the same song over and over again because she's clearly a 17-year-old girl. And Alicent is like, no, I'm the queen. I outrank you now, so he can leave. Goodbye now. Um, and you can tell Alicent does enjoy it. She doesn't lord it over Rhaenyra, but she's so sweet as to be, you know, I don't want to say necessarily false. I don't think she's false in everything she does. I don't think she's false in most of what she does. But from Rhaenyra's point of view, it has to look like it's all just a front, right? Like it's all fake. But really, up until till now, Allison has come across as remarkably genuine, and Rhaenyra actually remarkably bitchy. Although the latter has every reason to feel that way, I think. And her instincts are pretty good. Rhaenyra's instincts. She doesn't do diplomacy very well at 17. I'm not sure I know many who would, but she cuts to the heart of a matter, if you haven't noticed. That's something new. I rarely see women characters portrayed as that blunt and right. It may not be flashy, it may not be sweet, it may not be courtly, but when she, like back in episode 2, I think, says, all right, y'all are Kingsguard. How many of y'all have combat experience, like real world combat experience? And they're like, oh, just this guy. And she's like, well, that's the one I want defending my dad. No contest. I don't care who these people are. I don't care what their political alliances are. That's the guy I want defending my dad. Period. And it's a narrow mindset. I'm not saying it's good politicking. It's not. But she's blunt, and she gets to the point quickly. She gets to the point that with her father, that I don't want to be married off to some guy so you can have a fortress, although I know that's all I'm of use to you for, because you have a son now who's 2, who everybody loves, and I know what the realm expects you to do, and I expect you to do it. I'm not stupid or blind. And surprisingly, King Viserys tells her she will not be supplanted. I like that moment between father and daughter. I wish she had shown a little more gratitude instead of the stone face, right? But I suspect that's just Rhaenyra. But she's so blunt, and I like that about her. I like that she talks to her Kingsguard and says, hey, this sucks. Sometimes being a princess blows. And he's like, well, everybody would like to trade places with you, princess. You're a princess. And she's like, kind of sucks. Like, I know it's refreshing in a way yeah, I know that it's kind of bitchy and it comes across that way. And I'm sure a lot of people do see it that way. But meanwhile, Allison's like popping out babies and having to have a good attitude about it, which is equally distasteful. But she takes it very well, and she seems to do her duty fairly well and take it quite well, as young as she is. But I did find that the two of them, Alicent and Rhaenyra, to be pretty compelling as once friends. That's very sad, what happened. And I wonder who Rhaenyra is going to choose for her husband, since she has a choice now. We'll see. But what transpires there. I don't remember. So sometimes it's good not to remember from the story. I remember broad strokes and big dramas, but I can't remember who life of me who she chooses first, or if she waits till later, then I know who she marries. But early on, I don't. Anyway, well, what else do I have to say about House of the Dragon? There's just no comparison. Like comparing this to Rings of Power, this is just better. It's well made. The armor looks better. The battles look better. People look better. Even the bad wigs are okay. They're not that they're bad, but they're understandably bad, right? They're part of like a tradition in this family. This family has a tradition of crazy wigs. All right, cool, I can deal with that. All right, sure. Yeah, weird hair. Sure. Okay. Meanwhile, Rings of Power is just awful. They don't even hold a candle to one another. Even the language is better, which there are times Viserys will say something and I'll go, that was very kingly. That was a very interesting way of putting that. It's a little more regal, but it's not what they're doing to the elves in Lord of the Rings. Everything in House of the Dragon has a purpose, right? Every scene makes sense. They build on one another. There's sometimes there's a simple premise, like a hunt and a white stag that, for whatever reason symbolizes royalty and things like that are pretty standard fantasy fare. It's not complicated. We don't need Rhaenyra to explain what she's doing when she comes back covered in blood and her and Sir Criston are hauling the boar for everybody to see. We know what she's doing. We see it through her eyes. We see the understanding that she has come to within herself. When she sees the white stag, we know that she's thinking, I was meant to rule, and I'm going to. I love that. Again, they don't need to sit down and tell you. When she hashes it out with her father, it doesn't feel like it's for the explanation to explain it to the audience. It just makes good sense. And she calls her dad on his bullshit, which I appreciated too. And she's like, hey, you didn't marry Allison for advantage, okay? You can stop the bullshit right now. Because if you wanted a politically advantageous marriage, you would have married that little girl. But you didn't, so don't give me a lecture about who I need to marry. Fair enough, Dad says. I like that. Because sometimes, it's true. And it certainly is. In her case. Oh, I don't think I have a lot left to say. The guy playing Otto Hightower is a perfect combination of Tywin Lannister and Littlefinger. I love how he just tried to slide the incest on in there. The suggestion that she should marry her brother, who's 2 years old. Even the king starts laughing at how how horrible that is. It would solve their problems, though. Pretty much all of their problems. In fact, by the end of this series, you'll find out, I predict, that would have prevented civil war, essentially, in the Targaryen family. So we'll leave it to you to they'll leave that open, I'm sure, as to whether or not Rhaenyra should have just married Aegon and did the whole thing before it ever started. Anyway, that's all I have for tonight. Just wanted to praise generally what House of the Dragon is doing in terms of costuming and pacing and making dialogue that makes sense and building scenes upon other scenes. Oh, sorry, I always do this. When I say I'm gonna go, I think of one more thing. The tactics. I still don't understand why you're having this trouble in the stepstones, why you can't just take your dragon and smoke these people out of their caves. Just roast whatever supplies they have in there, have your dragon breathe fire straight into those cavern entrances for long enough, and they'll either starve, burn, or be smoked out. Seems like that would be a pretty easy win, even if they have archers. You'd think that, you know, again, another pass with the dragon could take care of that. Dragons solve a lot of problems, but I guess they create some for the showrunners as well. Create some problems, like how do we make this believable? But that was my main criticism of it. It's like, come on, guys, you have a dragon. How hard is it to, you know, dispatch with these people or ensure that they don't have supplies or food or place to hide? That's all for tonight, I promise. All right, talk to you later. Bye.